Hello friends. Welcome to our easy English story video. Today, you will hear the amazing story of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon in simple English. Follow the subtitles, repeat some sentences, and practice your English listening and speaking. Are you ready to discover one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world? Let's begin. Subscribe for more easy English stories. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Part 1. The Beginning, Babylon and King Nebuchadnezzar. A long time ago, more than 2,500 years ago, there was a great city called Babylon. Babylon was one of the most powerful and famous cities in the world. It was located in Mesopotamia, between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. The city was full of beautiful buildings, wide streets, markets, and temples. People from many lands came to see Babylon. At that time, the king of Babylon was Nebuchadnezzar II. He was a strong and clever ruler. He wanted to make Babylon the most beautiful city in the world. The king loved art, culture, and nature. He wanted to make a place where people could see beauty, feel peace, and enjoy life. King Nebuchadnezzar II had a queen named Amytis of Media. She came from a land with many green hills and forests. She missed her home because Babylon was very dry and had few trees. The king wanted to make her happy. He decided to build a very special place, a garden in the city. But it was not a normal garden. It would be very big, with many trees, flowers, and water. People say it looked like a green mountain in the middle of the city. This special garden became known as the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. The king wanted it to be a place of beauty, peace, and love. He wanted people to feel amazed when they saw it. Historians say that the gardens were built around 600 BC. Some say it was a real place, and some say it was a story told for many years. But the legend of the Hanging Gardens is very powerful and inspiring. Building the gardens was not easy. Babylon was a hot and dry city. Water was very important. The engineers and workers had to bring water from the Euphrates River to the gardens. They used special machines, like water pumps and channels, to lift water to the top of the garden. The gardens had many levels, like terraces, one above the other. Each terrace had soil, plants, and trees. It was a big engineering and artistic project. The gardens had flowers, vines, and fruit trees. Imagine walking between tall trees with green leaves, smelling the flowers, and hearing the water flowing in fountains. The terraces were high, so people could look at the city from the top. It was like walking in a small forest in the sky. The Hanging Gardens were a symbol of love and care. The king built them for his queen, but all people could see their beauty. Visitors from other lands came to Babylon to see the gardens. They told stories about them and described the amazing plants, water systems, and terraces. The gardens became famous in the ancient world. The gardens also showed the knowledge and skill of Babylonian engineers. They had to calculate how much water each plant needed. They had to make the terraces strong so the soil and trees would not fall. They used bricks, stones, and special materials to support the gardens. The Hanging Gardens were not only beautiful but also a great example of science and technology at that time. King Nebuchadnezzar II wanted the gardens to last forever. He loved seeing his queen happy and the people amazed. Every day he walked in the gardens, enjoying the colors of flowers, the smell of trees, and the sound of water. The gardens became a place of peace in the busy city. They showed that humans could create beauty even in a dry and hot land. Many travelers wrote about the Hanging Gardens. They described the terraces, the trees, the flowers, and the waterfalls. Some said that it was like a small paradise on earth. The story of the gardens traveled to Greece, Egypt, and Rome. People told their children about the amazing gardens of Babylon. Even today, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon are one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. People admire them not only for their beauty but also for the story behind them. The gardens remind us that humans can create amazing things with love, imagination, and knowledge. The story of Babylon and its hanging gardens teaches us about creativity, care, and the power of nature. Even though we do not see the gardens today, their legend continues. People all over the world still dream about walking in terraces with trees, flowers, and fountains. They imagine a green mountain in the city, built long ago by a king for his queen. The Hanging Gardens were not just a garden. They were a symbol of love, engineering, and art. They showed how humans can combine nature and construction to create something magical. King Nebuchadnezzar II and Queen Amethyst will always be remembered because of this amazing place. Part 2. The Gardens, Life Among the Trees and Water. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were one of the most beautiful places in the ancient world. Imagine walking among green trees, colorful flowers, and flowing water, high above the city. People who visited the gardens said it was like a paradise on earth. The gardens were not flat like normal gardens. They had many terraces, one above the other, like steps. Each terrace had trees, flowers, and plants. Some terraces had vines growing over the walls. Others had fruit trees with apples, dates, and pomegranates. Water flowed from the top terrace to the bottom. Fountains and channels made the gardens cool and fresh. The gardens were created for Queen Amethyst, who missed the green hills of her homeland. King Nebuchadnezzar II wanted her to feel happy in Babylon. Walking in the gardens, she could smell the flowers, hear the water, and see the trees. She could forget the heat and dryness of the city. The gardens were a place of peace for the queen, the king, and the visitors. The engineers of Babylon worked very hard to create the gardens. Water was the most important thing. They built machines and pumps to bring water from the Euphrates River to the terraces. The water had to reach the highest terrace, so all plants could grow. This system was a big achievement in ancient technology. People visited the Hanging Gardens not only to see beauty but also to relax. They could walk along the terraces, sit under trees, and enjoy the fountains. Some came to study the plants or learn about engineering. Children played in the gardens, and musicians sometimes performed soft music. The Hanging Gardens were a place for education, entertainment, and relaxation. The gardens were also a place of celebration. King Nebuchadnezzar II held special events there. Guests from other cities and countries came to visit. They saw the terraces, trees, and fountains. They were amazed by the combination of nature and human creativity. The Hanging Gardens became famous across the ancient world. The trees and plants were not only beautiful but also practical. Some trees gave fruits, and herbs were used for medicine. Flowers were used for decoration and perfume. The gardens were like a living library of plants. People learned about the colors, smells, and uses of nature. Water made the gardens special. In a hot and dry city like Babylon, water was very valuable. Streams and fountains were everywhere. The sound of water was calming. Visitors said it felt like walking in a mountain forest. The engineers designed the flow of water carefully so it would reach all levels of the terraces. The hanging gardens were also a place of art. Sculptures and decorations were placed among the plants. Walls and columns were painted with beautiful colors. Some areas had mosaics and patterns that showed the skill of Babylonian artists. The gardens were not only a natural place but also an artistic masterpiece. People who visited the Hanging Gardens often wrote about their experience. They described the smell of flowers, the green terraces, the flowing water, and the cool shadows. Many travelers said it was the most amazing place they had ever seen. The gardens were a combination of love, nature, and human imagination. The gardens also taught lessons about life. They showed that humans could create beauty in difficult places. Babylon was hot and dry, but the gardens brought greenery and water. They reminded people that love, creativity, and knowledge could change the world. Even though the Hanging Gardens were built for a queen, their influence was much bigger. Kings, scholars, and travelers were inspired by them. The gardens showed how humans can combine technology, art, and nature. They were a symbol of human skill and imagination. Today, we cannot see the Hanging Gardens as they were, but the legend continues. Artists, writers, and historians still tell stories about the terraces, the fountains, and the trees. People dream about walking among the hanging plants, smelling flowers, and enjoying the sound of water. The Hanging Gardens remain a symbol of love, nature, and creativity. The story of the Hanging Gardens teaches us that even in a dry and difficult place, humans can create something beautiful. It also reminds us that love, art, and nature are powerful. King Nebuchadnezzar II wanted to make his queen happy, and he succeeded. The Hanging Gardens became one of the most famous wonders of the ancient world. Part 3: The Mystery and Decline, Time and Legends. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were one of the most beautiful places in the ancient world. But over time, everything changed. After King Nebuchadnezzar II passed away, Babylon faced many challenges. Wars, invasions, and natural disasters affected the city. Slowly, the gardens began to disappear. The gardens were difficult to maintain. Water was the most important part, and it required constant work. If the pumps and channels stopped working, the plants and trees could not survive. Without care, the terraces became dry, and the beauty of the gardens was lost. Some historians say that the gardens were destroyed by floods or earthquakes. Others believe that enemies of Babylon took stones and bricks from the terraces to build other places. Over hundreds of years, the Hanging Gardens may have been completely destroyed. Today, no one knows exactly what they looked like or where they were located. Despite this, the legend of the Hanging Gardens survived. People told stories about them for generations. Travelers, writers, and historians described a green mountain in the city, filled with flowers, trees, and fountains. These stories inspired people to imagine the gardens, even if they never saw them. The gardens were also a symbol of love and power. King Nebuchadnezzar II built them for Queen Amethyst, but their beauty was admired by everyone. They showed that a ruler could combine art, technology, and nature to create something extraordinary. Even after the gardens disappeared, people remembered the story of the king, the queen, and the hanging terraces. Some people believe that the hanging gardens were a mixture of fact and myth. No archaeological evidence has been found to confirm their exact location. Some scholars think the gardens were real and built in Babylon. Others think they may have been in a different city, like Nineveh. The mystery makes the gardens even more fascinating. The story of the Hanging Gardens teaches us lessons about human creativity, love, and perseverance. Even when a place disappears, its story can continue to inspire generations. People imagine the gardens as a perfect combination of nature and human skill, showing that humans can create beauty in any environment. Many artists and writers created works inspired by the gardens. Paintings, poems, and books described the terraces, waterfalls, and colorful flowers. The gardens were a symbol of imagination and hope. They showed that humans can dream and make their dreams real. The decline of the gardens also shows that time changes everything. Empires fall, buildings decay, and nature takes its course. But stories, memories, and legends remain. The Hanging Gardens are remembered not only for their beauty but also for the ideas and inspiration they gave to people around the world. Even today, we can learn from the gardens. They remind us to respect nature, to be creative, and to value stories of the past. Engineers and architects still study the gardens to understand how the ancient people managed water and plants. The gardens show that knowledge and skill can survive long after the physical place is gone. The Hanging Gardens also remind us of the importance of love and dedication. King Nebuchadnezzar II wanted to make his queen happy, and he succeeded. The story of their love still inspires people today. It shows that love can lead to incredible achievements, even creating wonders of the world. The mystery of the Hanging Gardens makes them special. People still debate where they were, how they looked, and how they worked. Scientists, historians, and archaeologists continue to search for evidence. Each discovery teaches us more about ancient Babylon and the people who lived there. Even though we cannot see the gardens today, we can imagine them. Walking through terraces filled with trees, smelling flowers, and hearing the sound of water is still possible in our imagination. The Hanging Gardens live in stories, books, and the hearts of people who dream about ancient wonders. The story of the Hanging Gardens shows that human creativity, love, and nature can create something unforgettable. Even when time destroys a place, its legend can last forever. The gardens are a reminder that beauty, art, and passion are timeless. Part 4. The Hanging Gardens Today, a symbol of ancient wonders. Today, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon are one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Even though no one can see them in their original form, their story is known all over the world. People admire the gardens not only for their beauty but also for their history, creativity, and mystery. Historians and archaeologists are still curious about the gardens. They study ancient texts, drawings, and artifacts to understand how the terraces, water systems, and plants worked. Some scientists try to find the exact location of the gardens in Babylon. Others use imagination to recreate the gardens in books, paintings, and computer models. Visiting Babylon today is different. The city is not as large and powerful as it was in ancient times. However, people can imagine the Hanging Gardens from descriptions in history. They can see where the city was located, near the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, and think about the efforts to bring water to the terraces. The story of the Hanging Gardens is very inspiring for students, architects, and engineers. It shows that humans can create amazing things with knowledge, love, and imagination. The gardens remind us that even in difficult places, like a dry and hot city, humans can bring nature and beauty to life. Artists and writers today continue to tell the story of the Hanging Gardens. Books, movies, and paintings show green terraces, flowing water, and colorful flowers. People all over the world are fascinated by the idea of a garden hanging in the sky. Even without the real gardens, their story keeps them alive in the imagination. The Hanging Gardens are also a symbol of love. King Nebuchadnezzar II built them for Queen Amytis, to make her happy and remind her of her homeland. This story of love and dedication continues to inspire people. It shows that love can lead to amazing achievements that last for centuries. Even though the gardens are gone, the legend teaches important lessons. It reminds us that time changes everything. Buildings fall, empires end, and nature changes the land. But stories, legends, and ideas can survive forever. The Hanging Gardens are proof that human creativity and imagination are timeless. People who study the Hanging Gardens also learn about ancient engineering and architecture. The terraces were very advanced for their time. They needed strong foundations, water channels, and support for soil and plants. Ancient engineers solved many problems to create a beautiful and functional garden. Today, engineers study these techniques to learn from the past. Tourists, students, and history lovers from all over the world come to Babylon to learn about the Hanging Gardens. They walk in the city, imagine the terraces, and read about the gardens in museums and books. The gardens may not be physically present, but their story connects the past and the present. The Hanging Gardens also remind us about the importance of nature and environment. In a dry city, the gardens showed how humans can work with nature to create beauty. They teach us that plants, water, and green spaces are valuable for life and happiness. Even today, designers, architects, and gardeners are inspired by the Hanging Gardens. They create vertical gardens, rooftop gardens, and green terraces based on the ancient idea. The Hanging Gardens continue to influence art, design, and urban planning. In the future, the Hanging Gardens will continue to inspire people. Their story is told to children, students, and travelers. It reminds everyone that love, creativity, and imagination can create wonders, even in difficult conditions. The Hanging Gardens may no longer exist in reality, but they live forever in stories, dreams, and hearts. The legend of the Hanging Gardens teaches us to dream, to create, and to care for nature. It reminds us that humans can leave a mark on the world through art, love, and ingenuity. Even thousands of years later, the Hanging Gardens remain a symbol of human achievement and beauty.